Hello, today I'm joined by my guest, Mr. Paul Jamieson from 20A. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm really good, thanks, David. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well. Sort of rapidly coming out of conference season and into festive season, which I think, I can cope with.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's non-stop at the minute, actually.
it's been a bit crazy, hasn't it? But in amongst all the sort of things that we've seen during conference season, we've seen obviously quite a bit from 20EA. You are very much front and center of everything that goes on at the EA Masters, for instance, because your data is so integral to them being able to work out what agents are doing and how they're performing. But more importantly, your data is helping agents on a day-to-day basis do their job better and also provide some excellent customer service to their clients, whilst also keeping an eye on the competition, which always helps. And so that's where Insight 2.0 comes in. You've got some interesting upgrades going on. Do you want to just take us through how it used to be and perhaps what you're introducing now?
Yeah, so Insight's actually been around since 2018, so it's probably one of the more long-standing tools that's been available to estate agents. And it's been a really good tool. It's essentially the most comprehensive and accurate source of market intelligence on the market. And as an agent, you can license that from us and have access to a series of data and lots of reports for your local area.
And if we just put some figures on that for a second, when we say whole of market data, you're talking about 99.6 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty much as close to 100% as you get in terms of advertised properties. So we've got, as a business, we have over 4,500 data sources. Now, not all of those sources go into this, but a lot of them do. So wherever there's a kind of property coming to market, and we track that all the way through to completion and manage kind of everywhere in between, really. And it's been a really successful tool for us. Lots of agents have been using it, but we've set up a few focus groups, listened to agent feedback, and we've given it a bit of a facelift and improved it and added more data, more reports, more features. So yeah, it's we relaunched it a couple of months ago, and yeah, it's looking really good.
Fantastic. In terms of how agents are using that on a day-to-day basis, and producing some fantastic bits of content around it as well. There are a number of it's sort of flexible. The data's there, and it's up to you sometimes, to weaponize it yourself. The best examples that you've seen of agents using this, how are they using it?
Yeah, so there's so much data in there. So just to kind of give a really quick overview of the data. So we have a series of market share reports, which allows an agent to look at their performance and benchmark that against their competitors. We then have a report called Competitive Landscape. So that actually does a deep dive into your performance. So it will tell you how many sale agreeds you've had for a particular time period, how many withdrawals, fall throughs for you, and again, your competitors. We've got reports showing how quickly it takes to sell and complete, whether agents are undervaluing, overvaluing, what price they achieved. So there's a whole raft of data in there, and I suppose there's probably two or three main benefits or ways that it's used. First, it's a really good strategic tool. So if you are a business owner, and that can be of a single branch, either a self-employed agent, your own business, or a big corporate, it really allows you to strategically look at the data and make better and faster, more strategic decisions. So if I was running my own business, I'd want to know exactly what is happening in my area and base decisions on the data, not just a thought I might have or what people are saying in the pub. So there's that side of things. I think it helps you make better decisions strategically. The second, perhaps more practical, is more and more agents are now really using it as a content tool. So obviously, you can use this you can capture the data and use this for any form of marketing. So improve your direct mail leaflets, content for your website, newsletters, any PR you're doing, and it's, I suppose, you can use it for short-term sales. So why should on use on valuations or converting more, that's kind of short-term stuff.
That's
We
an
are,
education piece, isn't
yeah,
it? Because very often agents right now are going out. The tide is turning and has been for a while, but when you go out and you visit certain vendors, all they know is the kind of crazy market that we've all lived through in the past 3 or 4 years, and they want to know that their property's on the crest of a wave rather than anywhere else. And sometimes you need data to put in front of them to sort of educate them as regards pricing more than anything else.
It's exactly that. It gives you a really quick and easy way to access that data. It always amazes me. I speak to a lot of agents daily, and quite often say, "Oh, how's the market in your town, in your area?" And sometimes it really stumps agents.
Yeah,
Either can't answer it, or they answer it and it doesn't correlate with the data I see. And that is an issue, because I mean, it's probably a question an agent gets asked daily by vendors, buyers, landlords, tenants, whoever it is. And naturally, if you give a really good answer to that, and we've got the answers in it within Insight, and if you give a really good answer that might not be what they think they're going to hear when they listen to the news and all the kind of doom mongering on news and newspapers, you look really, really informed. And if you can back that up with the data, they're going to, that if you look more informed, they're going to trust you more than somebody else that can't really answer that question. So I think, yeah, at the crux of it, it's giving you that easy access to the data to look more informed.
yeah. I think it always, it's okay, all well and good sort of giving an opinion or a gut feeling.
Yeah.
God knows, as estate agents, we spend a lot of time talking about our gut feel, but it's great sometimes to be able to back that up with statistics, but ones that that are whole of market and also absolutely real-time data. You can walk in with the data sort of up to date when you go in to see that particular person at home.
Yeah.
So we talk about these things, Paul. You're going to show us
Yeah,
what the agent can expect to see.
Yeah, let me share my screen. I can give you a sneak preview.
So
Right.
the first thing I can see here, though, is that the UX here is incredibly simple, isn't it? It's sort of clean, and you know what you're getting from each of these different sections.
Yeah, we tried to make it really intuitive and not too complex. So, and essentially, we've created a series of Power BI reports. So that's kind of the format we use. But it's one of the main values. This is real time data, so I could tell you exactly what happened yesterday in the UK property market, which is really, we're not relying on land registry and completion data. This is all real time stuff. So you can really have your finger on the pulse, like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Now, not every agent's going to want to go in daily. I get that. But at the very least, I think monthly, you should be really looking at what happened the previous month and educating and training your staff in that, so that you can win more business, essentially. So, I mean, if I just dive into, there's lots of reports in here. I'm not going to dwell on all of them, but obviously you can contact me if you see this and are interested, and we can have a bit more in-depth chat. But I'll just take you into the market share report first and just show you a few of the changes. Hopefully it will load fairly quickly. There we go. So for people that haven't seen this before, there's different access levels. So I'm actually looking at the whole of the UK. But we do have packages regionally for kind of regional agents, and local, which goes down to kind of smaller independents. But the first big difference is we've added lots more data. So the old Insight used to have 2 to 3 years worth of data in, which is a lot and useful. But as you'll be aware, the last 2 to 3 years haven't been that normal.
Yeah,
we've had something called COVID. Do you remember that?
We need to remind people what a pre-COVID market looked like sometimes.
Exactly.
Remind them that some of the things that we see today are not abnormal. They are actually more representative of a normal market than we've had in the last couple of years.
Exactly, and that's why we've done this. And I'm not aware of any other kind of system out there that goes back that far, really. So you can see here that the data goes back to the start of 2018. So we're covering some of those pre-COVID years, because as you say, the market now is not dissimilar to what was happening in 2017, 2018, 2019. It's about kind of where we were. So it kind of reminds you of that. But the benefit of that is, you as an agent, you can obviously educate your your customers in that and spot trends. So we've added more data. You can still cut by any geography you want. So you've got regions, postcode areas. You can get as granular as postcode sector, which is kind of as low as you can get, really. There's different property types, price bands, and then these are the triggers. So this is looking at all the new instructions in the UK over this time period. It's obviously quite a large period. And it will show you the average property price, the number of instructions. We've added a new feature, average pound per square foot, which agents really like. So you can quickly look at that, and some agents like using that as a kind of valuation.
That's super useful as well, isn't it? When you,
yeah,
particularly when you're going to assess perhaps even new developments where you need to come up with a representative pound per square foot rates, because developers talk different languages to agents very often.
100%.
This is a great.
All developers work in pound per square foot. So, yeah. So it's opening up, and helping you more in that kind of new home space as well. And I mean, I could play around with this date range, and the data updates instantly, and you can see kind of trends month by month. So you can start to look at general market trends, look at property counts by price bands, and then we then list and have data on every single estate agency brand in the country. So over this period, you've got Purple Bricks at the top, so they're still at the top despite what people hear about them. But I could cut this by any kind of geography. So again, if I go to Northwest, it will instantly change, and I could click on any of these. I'll click on Purple Bricks because they're at the top, and all the data will update just for that brand as well. So it really gives you a real in-depth look at you and your competitors and what they're doing. So that gives you an idea, hopefully, of the comprehensive amount of data we've got.
Yeah, there's a lot of data there. There's a lot of power as well, and what I can see is it's pretty quick to update, which is fantastic.
And I get not every estate agent is a data person. So estate agents, they're real data geeks. Love this. They spend hours in here, but I appreciate not everyone is and hasn't necessarily got the time. So what we have done, and I'll just show you one of the new reports. So it's called Marketing Insights Executive Summary. And the reason we created this was more around that content angle I was saying. So how the data is great, but how do I get a commercial benefit? How does it benefit my business? So what we've done is created a report which I think would be really useful to marketing departments. Or as well as kind of training your staff and what's happened. And the idea is you don't really have to go searching for what's happening in the market. So when I ask what's happening in the market, this tells you. So you can go in either monthly or weekly, pick your area. I'll just pick East of England for now. And essentially, we don't actually consider agent brands in this piece. So all the other reports look at brands and how they're performing and competing against each other. This is just market data. So this is just your content, really. And it will show you, again, the number of new instructions, how that differs between the prior period and the prior year.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Because you've got those graphs there which effectively follow the same sort of trends. The figures may be different, but it shows the seasonality of the market, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you just got figures here that you could pluck out and use on valuations in your marketing and in your canvassing and your leaflets. So in literally 1 minute, I could pick out, right, how many new instructions have been in my area, sales agreed. We color coded some of the other triggers, the kind of tealy colors, good, red's bad. What's happening to prices in my town? Here's your answer. So we've got asking prices and exchange prices. Obviously the asking prices are coming down. This is looking at East England, which needs to happen because there was quite a big difference between asking prices and actually exchange prices. Actually, that shows that there's more vendors are perhaps getting a bit more realistic in recent months because that red line's coming down. We look at what price generally is getting achieved versus instruction price. And there's a little page 2 as well, which goes into looking at hybrid agents, share, conversions, fall through percentages, time to sell and exchange. So literally in a minute, you could kind of pick all that out and you've got you will be the most important agent in your
you've got the
town.
makings of a very basic market
Yeah,
update video.
yeah,
If you wanted to go on camera and
exactly.
talk about it, you've got something you could talk about in the living room if you needed to talk about market context in general. I think it's
And
fantastic.
and one of the criticisms we had of Old Insight was previously this was there, but you kind of had to go searching for it a little bit in different reports. So we just wanted to make it kind of one click, and you've got all that information you want really, to grow your business.
Excellent, excellent. So Paul, talk to us about agents that currently are not using the system but want to sort of get to know it. They like what they see. I mean, I know that there are some massive fans of your data out there. You mentioned people that are sort of statistic geeks. So talk about Christopher Watkin, for instance. He thinks this is the best system that he's seen so far in terms of providing that overall market overview. But we're interested as agents, sort of what's happening in our micro markets. You've got that data as well. You've got the ability to arm them with that. Where do they start? Is it sort of sitting down with you guys and going through their local sort of postcodes and their patch?
Yeah, so we've got different tiers of access we can give you. So starting at the kind of entry point level, we have Insight Local, and that gives you up to 12 postcode districts, which is still quite a big,
Pretty
large
hefty,
patch.
isn't it?
Like if you're a 1, 2, even 3 branch firm, like you're probably okay with that amount of data. That's quite a large area still. And that starts at £100 per month. So it's a monthly subscription, and you can set up pretty much as many users as you want. So you can give access to your whole team or limit it to certain individuals. And from that, we can get you set up like in hours. So we just need to know your patch, which postcodes you want, and then we can give you access straight away. It's pretty simple to set up. And we've all got a team that will onboard you and train you and give you best practice and things like that. So that's the entry point. It's just £100 per month. For slightly larger agents that need a bigger patch, we have regional access. So regional access would be a kind of whole UK region. So it might be the Northwest, the Northeast, East Midlands, Southeast, Inner London, whatever that might be. And that's £350 a month. Again, for a lot of data. And then we do have lots of larger kind of national clients as well. So you can get the whole of the UK if you want. That's a bit more expensive. That's £2,000 a month. But there aren't that many agents that fit into that category and need that level of data. And we are genuinely whole of the UK. So this is for England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. A lot of prop tech suppliers don't have very good data outside England and Wales. I would argue we do. And so if you are listing in Scotland or Northern Ireland, give us a call because you might be surprised. And we're in loads of, so 20 people might not necessarily know this, but 20 EA is part of 20 CI Group, which is a large group. So we're in lots of other sectors, not just the state agency. So we've actually launched this year something called 20 Convey, which is basically what I've shown you, but for law firms in England and Wales. Okay. So we can actually offer that as a bolt-on to estate agents. We offer it to law firms primarily, but it will allow you to look at all the purchase completions in your patch as well, which law firms are doing what, rank them by market share, and it will tell you how quickly each law firm takes to complete, which in essence says how good they are at their job and their sales progression. And agents are finding that really useful. It wasn't really expected when we built it, but there's little bolt-ons like that where we can give you data in other sectors like conveyancing. We've even got one for M&A, which is a big topic at the minute. There's lots of firms acquiring others and consolidation going on. We've got letting specific reports, which basically tell you where you should be acquiring lettings businesses. So there's other things outside the core reports which might be of interest to other people as well.
That's really interesting. I didn't think, that data on conveyancers, that's interesting because we make our own assumptions, don't we, based on transaction to transaction, but you've got it there and it's empirical.
And a lot of agents might have 2 or 3. They might have a couple of local solicitors or a couple on a panel. we can literally show you could look at if you let's say you had 4 that you refurbished, so you can look at the performance of all 4, and again look at their performance for freehold, leasehold, new builds, price ranges, and kind of you can hold them to account, I suppose. So look at and
yeah, well, it allows you to...
or look, it kind of gives you an idea of where you should be referring more business to, perhaps.
I suppose it allows you to do all sorts of things. So if you're the sort of agent as well that does quite a bit for local TV or local radio, you ever get interviewed and you need some statistics, because that really is going to be the pinnacle of your interview there, something that they can hang their hat on. This is a great way to go in there armed with the data, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're getting more and more. So you mentioned Chris Watkin earlier, so he self-proclaimed our biggest fanboy, but he uses obviously the data for his UK property market stats show, and I mean he calls it Rightmove Plus on turbocharged with boosters and whatever.
Yeah.
but he's a big advocate of ours, which is great. And yeah, I suppose a lot of agents, in terms of comparison products, a lot of agents still just use Rightmove, which is fine. I'm not going to poo-poo Rightmove here, but they're not whole of market. So if an agent's not on Rightmove, their data won't be showing. So you're not getting a full picture of what's going on. The other thing which agents quite like is Rightmove only split it at branch level. What we do is actually aggregate it for the whole brand. So if you have got kind of different branches in different areas, we'll kind of put it all as one, which a lot of agents really like, because it's just not possible there. And the main reason really is it helps differentiate yourself. Yeah. If everyone's taking the same report out to the same vendor, it's boring. The vendor's seen it before. Doing something a bit different with some new data and some new reports and something different just helps you stand out more and win more business. It's all stuff we know, but yeah.
No, it's all good. You can see that this has got real sort of kind of long-term benefits, but also short-term. It would allow you to boost the number of instructions that you win. It's potentially an instruction winner in terms of the sort of collateral that you can take in to evaluation with you as well. Your reports are pretty good looking in terms of the statistical representation there as well, and more importantly, the net result is that this agent's always going to come across as being seen to be knowledgeable about their marketplace, which I think goes a long way with your average seller these days, and buyer as well. So really important and worthwhile. Definitely recommend that you book in with Paul, and can give you a snapshot of your market. And it's great that you've got a product for everybody, if you like. So you've got that entry level, but you've also got that kind of national level if people need that. So this really is a tool for every agent, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, from single branch to a national firm. And if you go to our website, we've actually, since we've launched, we've got a new report called an Agent Health Dashboard, which again gives a kind of quite simple traffic light system on where you're performing well and where you need to improve. If you go to our website, fill in the form, we'll send you a free example of that. And you don't have to contact us again. You might just want to have a sneak look, but it's a free way of looking at some of these reports. And if you do want to follow it up, you can let us know.
We'll put the link in the comments over here as well, so you can have a look at that. Thank you, Paul, for your time. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Cheers.